Limpopo's Health Department has given an update on the identification of the victims of yesterday's horror crash. 9 of the 45 bodies have been identified so far. Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala is in Mokopane and joins us now. Nqobile, we've just heard briefly in the briefing there as to what is the latest in terms of identifying those that have unfortunately lost their lives in that crash. But what have you heard and what can you share with us at a close range from that side?
Well, the MEC just explaining to us, first of all, that the sole survivor, which we now understand is an 8-year-old little girl from Botswana, has already been able to speak to them to identify who the granny was. So we understand that they were traveling with the granny, and has been able to give them the numbers as well to the parents that are in Botswana to ensure that there's a way of speaking to the family. Now, these are some of the processes, of course, that are still going to take place. And I want to bring in now the MEC just to tell us just how far they are in these processes. If MEC, you could just outline just how far you are in the processes of ensuring that you can speak to the family, to the families, and explain to them what has happened.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to your viewers out there. And perhaps maybe one should start by sending message deepest condolences to the families and the friends of their loved ones, the deceased, the people of Botswana, and in general the people of South Africa and the St. Agnes ZCC Church. What we can confirm is that the most critical thing that is left now, because when you have an accident scene, you start by survivors, which we have done, and one child, as you have indicated, is currently admitted in one of our hospitals and has been done a procedure. Surgeons have operated. She's stable, she's fine, she's okay. The second survivor, whom she identified as a grandmother, unfortunately died before reaching the hospital. The remaining, there were 34 body bags that were retrieved from the scene, because the second, after really taking care of the survivors, you then start to want to retrieve the remains of those that have passed on. And as we have indicated earlier on, is that out of the 34 body bags that we have received of the remains, because we cannot say it's so and so until they've been positively identified. We should also appreciate that the nature of this accident, because it's a very horrific and a complicated one. The body firstly suffered the physical injuries and trauma, and secondly then the body suffered from the heat. So the physical trauma might have resulted into amputation or any other physical injury, and the body the heat has resulted into the body being burned beyond recognition. So that is why we're saying the second step will be, out of the 34 remains that so far have been retrieved by the police from the scene, handed over to us, and are here in this hospital in this forensic, we need to start the process of identifying them. So of the 34, 9 body bags are identifiable. Now, those who are identifiable, we are working with the pastors from that area. You are seeing us, we are with the Botswana government. We will start the process of positive identification. The remaining 24 body bags, we cannot say it's 24 individual. And I must emphasize that 25, because you don't know inside one body bag, because it has been burned beyond recognition. Is it an individual, it's 2 persons, or 2 body bags have got 2 persons or have got 1 individual. So that process can only be done through the DNA, the scientific method, which is also another process that will involve Interpol, SAPS, national DNA unit, which we've already activated. The process are going on. So for now, all what we can say is that the first step, the second step, which is retrieving those who have perished in the accident, it's not yet done. We've only completed the process of retrieving those who have survived. So we are on the second step now.
Thank you very much, MEC. Just a lengthy explanation there from the MEC about the details in terms of what's going on at the moment from the department. I want to bring in now the Commissioner from Botswana to speak to us about the processes, because of course this happened in South Africa and what this means for your country to have lost so many people in South Africa.
I must say it's a very traumatic time right now. Families are devastated. You can imagine when 45 people die, you multiply, you go on, friends, distant relatives, their parents. It is just a completely devastating time. The government of Botswana is devastated, everybody is devastated. And now I just want to pass my sincere condolences to members of their families, to Botswana. I can tell you my phone didn't stop ringing the whole night. It means a lot to us.
Have you started speaking to the families that side, that based on the list that you have currently that says who was on the bus?
We haven't, because that list still has to be investigated by the police, who are doing it in consultation with the police in Botswana. And really, for us, we have a point of entry. But right now, what we are doing is to support, is to hold hands here. But the rest, every department, if you like, will do their work. What we know is that, at least based on the list, there were 46 people. And like the MEC explained earlier, we cannot definitively say there were 46. Investigations are still going to be done scientifically and otherwise. So I talked to a few members of the family who are here, passing our condolences and just summarizing the process that we are going through, and they were quite appreciative.
So there are some families that do have an idea that their relatives may have perished?
That is still under investigation. That is still under investigation, and until especially the scientific part is completed, we cannot definitively say maybe there were families in the bus, maybe some families, or even families of the people. At least we know that there was only one survivor. So if families came here, we can only draw a terrible conclusion, as we are aware.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Well, as you can hear there from those messages from the Commissioner, just explaining how difficult it is for them to treat the situation, of course, because some of the bodies, like the MEC saying that they are burnt beyond recognition, meaning that the DNA process has to obviously continue. And we know that at the moment, even in that bridge where it occurred, we still saw forensics team going in, still trying to get as many of the remains as possible to ensure that that DNA process is able to give the families the sense of comfort and that they're able to retrieve their loved one. But it's going to be a lengthy one because investigation still needs to continue. And like we hear that because it's a cross-border situation, Interpol also has to come and work as part of that, and also DIRCO has to be part of that. So it's going to be quite a lengthy process. But at this point, they're still trying to ensure that those that can be found can be positively identified.
Nqobile Madlala, thank you so much for keeping us up to speed.